For the first time ever, SpaceX's Crew Dragon will shuttle 2 American astronauts to and from the International Space Station. It's the final test of the Crew transportation system and will mark the beginning of a new era in space travel. When Canadians will be headed back to the ISS isn't clear yet, but when they do, it's likely to be Colonel Jeremy Hansen that gets them there. He currently represents Canada at NASA's Mission Control Center as the Spacecraft Communicator, a title more commonly known as Capcom and the single voice between the ISS and the ground. The fighter pilot has also spent time living in a cave and at the bottom of the ocean as part of his astronaut training. At this moment, I'm grateful he's joining me to talk about what this flight means for the future of spaceflight in Canada. Colonel Hansen, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
First, though, what does this launch mean to you as an astronaut?
Oh, well, I mean, excitement for one. The way I really look at seeing this first commercial crew launch with humans on it is opportunity. It's all about the future. I have great confidence that we're, going to have a good test flight. There are risks we have to manage. Things don't always go perfectly, but it feels right. It feels like the right work has been done. Feels like we are truly ready to give this a test flight with humans on it. And once these vehicles are flying, I think it opens up a lot of opportunity for the future. The whole promise of the commercial crew program was to increase competitiveness in the launch market, decrease the cost of getting to space. And what we see here is our American colleagues bringing an important capability to bear that matches up with all the other international partners' capabilities so we can all do more in space.
So what does a successful launch mean for the future of spaceflight in Canada?
Well, as you're probably aware, we don't directly compete in the space launch business. So it's really upside for all of our space industry. There are people working on a launch area or a launch center on the east coast of Canada, but not actually building launchers themselves in Canada. So no matter how this all plays out, it's all upside for Canadian space industry because the cost of getting to space should start to come down. And that's really, really important. Now, we also see this as stepping stones towards commercializing low Earth orbit, being able to do more research in low Earth orbit, and helping us to establish a reusable transportation infrastructure to the moon with a gateway we're building, and eventually leading us on beyond that to Mars.
So I understand it's an all-American launch tomorrow, but take me through the role of Capcom on such an historic day for astronauts.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just one of the Capcoms here at NASA. It's just kind of a duty that we hold as astronauts. But for tomorrow, and because this is a SpaceX rocket, there will be a regular mission control room for the International Space Station in Houston, but there will not be one for the Falcon 9 rocket itself. That is in Hawthorne with SpaceX. They control that rocket, and so they'll be doing all of that mission control from there.
And I'm wondering if you can give me a better sense of how your time as Capcom has helped prepare you for what will eventually be your chance to head to space.
Yeah, I probably would want to frame, the role of Capcom as an opportunity to learn the operational aspect of space exploration. So when you're, working as Capcom and Mission Control, you are the heartbeat of space operations. You are speaking directly with the astronauts on board the space station. But even probably more relevant is all the experts you're surrounded by in that mission control room, people that are, have expertise in all the different systems of the International Space Station. And you're part of a team that's making decisions on how effectively we conduct operations on the space station and ultimately prepared for a bad day or for a scenario where we have to execute our emergency response procedures and get down to the basics of saving human lives in space. That's what we do in mission control. So that's a great experience for any astronaut. It's one of the roles we play here. As a Canadian astronaut, what we do with our corps is we integrate into this international corps here at the Johnson Space Center, and we do a plethora of different roles here, not just Capcom, but training. I was working on spacewalks in the fall and the new year, for example, to repair the alpha magnetic spectrometer. I mean, I've just had a lot of really tremendous experiences, all of which add up to making me a better astronaut.
So you spent some time living underground as part of a team building exercise. I know the two astronauts joked about how when they get back, they're going to look forward to vomiting together. But I'm wondering if you can just give me a better sense of what the camaraderie is like between you all and what camaraderie needs to be in place in order for these launches to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to trust. That's what, when you say camaraderie, we use that word a lot. It's really important to us. We talk a lot about something we call expeditionary skills or team skills, but it all comes down to how well we work together. But the fabric that, really connects us to one another is trust. We know when we get on a rocket or we live in a tin can in the vacuum of space, it's dangerous. We're managing risks. We also know that astronauts are not perfect people and we make mistakes. And we talk a lot about having the confidence and the trust to admit our own errors, to speak up when we have uncertainties so that we can cover for one another. And that's what makes our team high functioning. And so we developed that in many different ways. You talked about living underground. I went on a caving expedition and I did, 6 of us, 6 astronauts from around the world, international partnership. And we explored deeper and deeper into a cave for 7 days. I'll tell you what was interesting about that experience was the risk. There was just a lot of danger all the time when you're moving around in the cave. There's slips and drops. You're using ropes. You're climbing. You're descending. There's water you're swimming through. It's a lot of risk to manage. And, that is a really great training analog for us to be able to, have real risk where we can hurt ourselves, but working as a team to manage that risk, stopping each other when we need to stop and talk about it. When you look at the launch that we just scrubbed on Wednesday, we scrubbed for weather. Do you think everybody wanted to just press the button and go? Yeah, we all wanted to see that rocket fly. But having the self-discipline to say stop when we need to stop and let's talk about it and let's find another approach or let's do it another day. Those are the kinds of things we want to work on.
It's so cool to hear about how technology up there can help technology down here. Thank you so much, Colonel Hansen. This has been really cool. And I'll let you get on with the end of your day. Take care.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And you have a great day as well.
You as well. I really appreciate you doing this. Cheers.
Yeah, no problem at all. All right, have a good day.
You as well. Take care. That was Colonel Jeremy Hansen, and he joined me from Houston, Texas.